Good afternoon. It's Tuesday, 25th of March, back in the reading nook with a nice hot cup of tea. And of course, because it's towel day, with a towel, I do hope you know where your towel is, like every good hoopy food. And I've got some parcels to unbox, which includes this. So, and what I've got in this is a little package. And this is Game Theory in the Age of Chaos, a book of essays on games and politics by Mike Selinker. Okay, you've got essentially the clicking clock there, countdown to doomsday. So this is a serious subject, or a book about a serious subject. So the game is rigged, we can still win it. For the entire Donald Trump presidency, game designer Mike Selinker has analysed the resultant chaos through the lens of game theory. Backed by scholarly primers by mathematician Richard Malena-Webber, Mike describes the link between poker and the North Korean arms race, details how to safeguard abortion rights by modelling combat simulations, and explains Donald Trump's crime code as only a puzzle maker can. Proceeds from this edition will benefit the Democratic Party and other groups battling tyranny in America. This is published by Lone Shark Games, this essentially it's a tight little book of political essays, essentially analysing events during and actions by the Trump presidency by a designer of games and puzzles. So, yeah, this is not going to appeal to many in the gaming hobby. I would suspect there are going to be a lot of people who will not want to read a book that is A, not pro-Trump, and B, who really is. It's about politics in general, and also using whether or not the fact that it uses game theory and design to analyse what was going on. Me being me, I went, oh, that sounds interesting, because the essay I read some of the essays when Mike was posting them, and enjoyed them. They were interesting. And then, obviously, to have a collection of them to hand, I thought would be an interesting book to read on its as a whole, and of course look at in the light of what's happened over the past 4 years, which can be best described as turbulent. So you've got multiple essays, so quite a lot in there. There's a whole list of them. And this is quite a tight little book. I mean, it's as you can see, it's possibly going to get lost on the shelf. I don't think it's going to. I don't think it's going to get. You're going to see this on. You're going to see this on the shelves of your local friendly game store. Perhaps because it's certainly not in this kind of size. It might well get lost, or it might not be the subject matter that people want to find there or sell. But for basically people like me or reviewers who have an interest in sort of like in games and writing about games, then perhaps it's the sort of thing they want to read. So let's have a look. So, for example, we have, I'm just doing randomly, the cap trap. Why no NFL team will call him Kaepernick? And this explains essentially this is written in 2017, and it's talking about the NFL or American football quarterback Colin Kaepernick, who before each game would take the knee to protest as part of the Black Lives Matter protests, which aroused the ire of Trump and the right wing in America, the conservatives and so on, and many of his many of the sort of like the American football team owners. And I basically know this because I confess that I do enjoy watching American football when I have the chance. I follow it sort of like through the year, or basically through the season, and have done for many years now. Essentially, what Mike is doing he's applying something called the stag hunt. And I don't know what the stag hunt is, and I can't comment upon that. But I'm using this as an illustration. And essentially, what you've got is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Basically, essay 5 pages long. I mean, quite short pages. And then Rich, as in Richard Malena-Webber, explains what the stag hunt is there in the box text at the end, so it gives you some context. So this is essentially, because it's subject matter, because of the culture it's examining, it's a very American book, and if you really need kind of like to have an interest in American politics and what's going on, or what was going on over the past 4 years, to want to read this, and as well as enjoying role-playing and gaming, I have an interest in American politics, just purely amateur. It's sort of like, that's an interesting subject, I like hearing about it, so I listen to a couple of podcasts. I follow the presidential races, because they're always fascinating to watch from an outsider's point of view, because we don't have anything like that over here in the UK. Part of me goes, thankfully, although there are many things I dislike about our electoral system, but the American one is always interesting to watch, and I like programs about, I like drama about American politics and stuff like that. So yes, I'm a fan of the West Wing, and yes, that does not mean I'm not a conservative either. Again, so you've got, I think you've probably, let me see, you've probably got 20, 30, okay, this is actually, you've got about, I would say, you've got about 30, 40 essays in here, runs to over 500 pages, and essentially it collects everything that Mike wrote over that time. Yes, as I said, if you have an interest in politics, the other thing is basically Mike also contributed to the Cobalt Design Guide to Board Game Design, and so on, as probably the top one, and also the Dealer's Choice Complete Handbook of Saturday Night Poker. So he's an expert on game design, also knows how to play poker, and obviously can write informatively about that. So again, that's something which obviously some people certainly the poker will have something in common with him as well. I've never played poker outside of playing it in a video game. It's not a game I particularly have any particular interest in, but again, he's using that kind of the theories sort of like of that come out of playing poker and go into designing games to write this book and analyse the last 4 years. Okay, so can I don't know whether I can recommend this book really. I mean, I can recommend it to me, but you've got to have a specific kind of interest to really want to read this, I think. Basically, the intersection point of game design and politics is sort of like that Venn diagram is kind of be pretty small, I would have thought, and strangely, I sort of find myself in it, which is a little bit weird. So yeah, okay. Game Theory in the Age of Chaos. I thoroughly recommend it if you have an interest in American politics and game design. Alright, thanks again for watching another unboxing in the Nook. If you've enjoyed this, please do click the like button. And of course, if you have any comments or feedback, I do take the time to read them. If you want to see more unboxings in the Nook, please do click the subscribe button, and you'll be alerted to more incidents of me being out here with a nice hot cup of tea, a book to unbox and chat about for 10 minutes or so. Again, thanks for watching. I'm going to be back soon with another unboxing in the Nook. Bye for now.